Dhamir Cosby-Roundtree is a fifth year on the men's basketball team who spent 5 years here at Nova. He plays at number 21 and he sat down with me to discuss mental health and its connection to his season-ending injury.
Hey Dada, thank you very much for agreeing to interview with me today. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm real good, thank you. So this is for our uni tests, Every Mind Matters group, which focuses on mental health. So today I have some questions just about your experience with your recent injury and how that's affected your mental health, and just kind of generally about your experience as a student athlete here at Villanova.
Alrighty, let's do
it. Cool. So on a general sense, how has your experience been being at a school that's one of the top basketball schools in the country?
Just speaking from just a basketball player perspective, it's been great. Villanova itself is a great university. It helps the athletes and be able to focus on being an athlete, a student athlete. It helps you a lot, like makes it easy for you to focus on school and basketball. So, generally it's been great. I haven't had really too many bad experiences.
That's great. It's really good to hear. So since you got the news about your injury, what about your experience has changed since then?
Okay, it's a lot has changed, but not really from the community, the Villanova community as much. I'm still, respected by my peers and, teammates and stuff like that. Everybody still respects me as a person, how I was off the court and how I held myself on the court. People still respect the person that I am. So in terms of that, it hasn't been any difference. But as a player, it's just different, being going from playing to having a role where you're like watching, and you're just trying to motivate and guide versus doing it, versus using your words and showing them versus and leading that way versus leading with your actions. So it's just kind of, that's like the big difference, the biggest difference anyway.
Yeah, for sure. How do you think this injury has kind of changed your mentality and mindset around being a student athlete?
I would say that it completely changed it. So before, I feel like at least when I was younger, being a student came second. I was an athlete student. I can say that. It probably wasn't a great way to go about it, for early on, but my mindset coming in was Villanova was just a stepping stool into my next stage in life, and I thought that was going to be in the pros. But things happen, injuries happen, and I've started to reflect on like, was I being my best self in totality, just being myself in all aspects of my life. And I found that dealing with injuries and stuff like that, like it makes you, when you're not playing, you have to think about who you are when you're not doing your sport. So I found that I began to push myself more in the classroom and just being a better person when I wasn't playing basketball. And I found that it actually helped me more once I started rehabbing and playing basketball again. Mm-hmm. That it helped me it made my mind more clear. So I felt as though that my injury opened my mind to understanding more of who I am.
That's cool. So it kind of helped you like explore your identity outside of basketball more then, I guess.
Exactly.
That's cool. That sounds like a great idea. Do you think it's affected your mental health in any way?
So I can say that it has. I think I went through a period of depression last year specifically. I felt as though that I was like not really battling against the term I use. Like I felt like I wasn't playing against anybody else. I was playing against myself. I didn't have the opportunity to play my senior year through the injury. And I felt as though that a lot of it had to do with me not, and a lot of it, I felt like I was battling against myself all the time, doing rehab. And, even when I tried to practice, it felt like it was extremely difficult, difficult to overcome. that feeling that the only person that was in my way was my own body. So I felt like, it was very defeating.
Mhm. I think that's definitely something that a lot of student athletes can kind of identify with, whether they're going through injury or not, is kind of getting through those personal barriers. So thank you very much for sharing that. Would you say that you take active care of your mental health after going through that and the injury aspect?
Um, I would say yes. I think for me, the active care is just, I always tell myself a lot that, I'm not just a basketball player, or I'm not a result of, I'm not the results of my play. So I kind of don't think about, you know, how well I've played, or how well I have, or how well I do play whenever I do play. I don't think of me as that person as I'm just a basketball player who is graded and not graded. What's the word? Critiqued on how they played their last game. I
Mhm.
kind of look at myself like who is Dhamir? Who is the person Dhamir Cosby-Roundtree? I kind of think about and by doing that, I just actively ask myself, am I doing the best I can every day? Am I doing what makes me happy every day? I don't really think about how my body feels, even though like sometimes my body does hurt.
Mhm.
I don't look at that my body is who I am entirely, or what my body can do for me is who I am entirely. I think about um, you know, of course I try to take care of my body, make sure I'm not hurting, but I think about like what can I do to increase my mental how can I get smarter? What can I learn new today? How can I make someone else happy? How can I teach somebody else something? That's kind of things I think about.
Yeah. So taking things off kind of the focus of that physicality aspect, and more of just getting better as a person and improving just as
Exactly.
a person. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's cool. So thinking more of an external way of thinking, has there been much support for your mental health during your experiences?
Um, yeah, I could say I have a lot of friends and family that kind of help me a lot. They kind of talk to me, check in on me a lot.
Mhm.
I'm not a very um open person when it comes to expressing my feelings. I'm not very how can I say, like, I'm expressive, but I don't like express my feelings. I don't express like inner deep feelings. I kind of express like the surface.
Yeah.
So like for me, kind of talking about it, it was kind of it was difficult at first. But talking to my family, talking to my friends, I eventually opened up with time. But I think that for me personally, it was a lot of inner. I had to talk to myself a lot. I had to come to terms with it myself before reaching out.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely figuring out what's going on with you first and being able to work out how you express it. Um, and then using that support system for sure, the people who know you best and who love you and are going to support you through whatever you're going through is definitely, I think, one of the best things that you can do. So thinking on Villanova's kind of campus specifically, um, is there any resources that you've used here? And if you've not, what do you think more could be done here on campus?
Um, so I personally haven't um reached out to anyone on Villanova's campus.
Hmm.
Um, I think that I think that is difficult. Just reaching out to I think like if it's made more like available, like I guess I didn't really pay attention to it when I was younger. I'm sure that I hear about the counseling office all the time.
Hmm.
Um, but I think like I have had teammates that had spoken to a sports counselor
Hmm.
in my time here, but I just didn't know like where or when. So maybe like making that something that's spoken about yearly
Hmm.
or more often. Bringing teams to tell them like, listen, introduce them to the counselor. Um,
Hmm.
let them know that the counselor is there and available to them. Like I don't know who the sports counselor is, if there is one on Villanova's campus.
Mhm.
I don't know who that person is, so I wouldn't even know where to reach out to. So I think like making that person more, making time for that person to meet each team,
Mhm.
or those people, each team. I think that would be something that'd be really helpful, because I know that some guys they need some people they need to be able to talk to, somebody outside of their teammates, outside of their parents, outside of their coaches. I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, completely unrelated to what's going on.
Yeah.
So we do actually have a student athlete specialist in the counseling center who just got hired this year. Dr. Neff is his name. And he's obviously relatively new. So he's kind of getting going and doing the things that you said as best as he can. But again, he's only been here for a couple months now. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree, like raising awareness, and awareness of him and awareness of the other resources that we have on campus, and maybe even off campus too. I totally agree with your point. I think that's great. Okay, kind of final question I have for you. As a grad student, as someone who's been here for 5 years now, do you have any advice for student athletes coming up through the years, who either struggling right now, or could potentially face injury right in the coming years? Do you have any advice for them?
Um, my advice is just don't. You're not who you are. You're not limited to who you are on the field or whatever specific sport that you play.
Mhm.
You're not limited to how well you perform. You're not just who you are when you're performing at your best, or you're not who you are when you're performing at your worst, or even in between. Like whoever you are, whenever you're not doing your sport, is the most important. And building that person will make whoever you are on the field so much better.
Mhm.
So my advice would be just don't find a way to grade yourself or to evaluate yourself, um, outside of just your sport. Just find whoever the best person you are is, and have that person be lead whatever you do in life. So I think that would be my only advice.
Thank you. That was great. And thank you for again for taking the time to talk with me, and be willing and open to share your experiences and everything.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
If you are struggling and feel like you need some extra help, please do not fail to reach out. Give Villanova's Counseling Centre a call on 610 519 4050 and ask for Dr. Neff, our student athlete specialist. Alternatively, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline on 1-800 273 8255 or contact Crisis Text Line by texting TALK to 741 741. For more information on Villanova's mental health services and to keep up to date on how we're trying to fight this stigma, follow everymindmatters.unitas on Instagram to keep up to date with this group's initiatives, group meetings, and other fun things we're doing within the athletics department.